there, and good afternoon. I'm Christine Dean, your DFW Networking Diva, connecting you to who you want to know. And there are so many cool people out there that you need to know. So I was looking around and I got a buddy. His name is Christian, and Christian is all about storytelling. And I just love what he does. So I had to bring him on and share him with everybody. Hey, Christian.
Well, hello, Christine. It's a pleasure to join you and all of your peeps here on your show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to have fun. I love storytelling. So as soon as you said storytelling, I'm like, I'm in. Tell me more. Right. So let's hear all about it. What is it that you do with storytelling? What is this all about?
Well, if it's okay, I might just kind of to give you some context. Maybe I'll kind of go back in time a little bit.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I do, and I've done since 2015, is I serve as the International Olympic Committee's knowledge management advisor. So I've been in this Olympic space for more than 2 decades. And prior to the Rio 2016 games, there was a need identified within the IOC to share not just documents and not just have observation programs, but could there be a way to share knowledge, contextual knowledge that exists inside people's heads? So we crafted an approach with the IOC to interview the heads of various departments in local organizing committees for them to share their stories, to share their experiences, their lessons learned. And as we embarked on this project, I actually fell in love with the notion of storytelling as a means to share knowledge, to build community connection and understanding. When the pandemic hit, all of that work stopped, as it did for many of us, particularly those of us in the major event space. And I had time to reflect, and I started thinking about my own family's stories. And so I interviewed my mother, I interviewed my uncle, I started capturing their stories. I didn't really find a platform that I felt did justice to the stories that were being served. So I decided to start a company and build my own. I hired a team of developers, and we built a platform that was specifically designed as a storytelling engine, originally conceived to help families record and share stories. And one of the really cool inventions that we came up with, or developments we came up with, was the idea of sending a request to 1 or 10 or 50 people and asking them to share a story. Well, fast forward to March of this year, we're finally ready to unveil our product at a big genealogy and family history conference. It was all virtual, and we held a virtual presentation. We had over 100 attendees at our presentation. It was really, really awesome. And one of those attendees, he contacted me after the presentation and said, "Christian, I love this platform for capturing family stories, but let me tell you, I'm a professional speaker. I'm a solopreneur. And what I am really interested in doing is using your platform to get video testimonials for my business. Do you think that I can do that?" And I said, "Well, gosh, I suppose. I don't know why you couldn't do that." And he introduced me to the world of speakers and small business owners, solopreneurs, who are looking to get some kind of video social proof. And so we developed some additional features, and we launched Raconto for Business in July of 2022, so July of this year, with the idea of allowing companies, organizations, small business owners, solopreneurs, to very easily request and record and receive and transcribe and curate and publish this video social proof. Because at the end of the day, the research shows that 90% of people believe what customers say about a business more than what the business says about itself. And in today's times, it's absolutely critical to crowdsource your story, to get the stories of your clients from their point of view, from their own mouths, to record those and to be able to share those with your potential clients to build your credibility.
Oh my goodness. I knew I was going to love this. Christian, oh my goodness. So you started off with the idea of telling stories with family, right? And then branched into the business world. And you are so right on both sides, right? the family stories that we want to hold on to, right, for generations. How many times have we been, oh, I wish we had, grandma so and so, such and such, or I wish I knew more about, right? And having video opportunities where we've got them on video and they can tell their own story in their own words and you can hear it. I love that idea. I know with my grandfather, he was served in the Marines, right? And he didn't talk much about it, right? You knew he was a sharpshooter and that was pretty much, taught, that kind of stuff, but that was it. We didn't get to hear about those days. He was a VP of a company. It would have been great to have the stories written, you got to read it and everything, and you got to wait for them to write it out, right? Video, we could watch him talk about how he worked his way up the ladder, right? In a family-owned business as high as you could go. This is family stuff, or, Great Martha's recipes for the holidays, whatever it is. I love it. So you have that side of it, right? So how do people participate in that?
Well, they can go to our website and sign up for a free account. Raconto.io is the website. You can do that for family stories. You can do that for organization stories. And we have different kinds of plans that are tailored to meet the different needs of different individuals. One of the things that we found to be really, really helpful for people is to, instead of just asking them, hey, go record something, is to create a personalized request. So if you wanted to capture your father's or your grandfather's or your mother's or your sister's story or whatever, you could actually record yourself asking a question about that particular recipe. For me, it was my grandmother's chocolate pies. And actually that, I was like, wow, what is the story behind this? This is my favorite pie, but I don't know the story, right? So what do? I create a little video of myself, which I then send to my mom through the system. And she opens it up. She gets a little email message or a text message or whatever, and she opens it, and there's a little video of me saying, Mom, what is the story behind Grandma's chocolate pie recipe? Because that pie rocks. But I mean, did she come up with that herself, or was it handed down to her? Did you make any modifications to it? And why do we only eat it around the holidays? Like, why don't we eat this all the time? Because this pie is amazing, right? So being able to send questions this way to family members and have them just, scan a QR code or click a link with their phone. No need to install any software. No need to sign up for an account. Just record and then hit the submit button, and then it automatically comes back to you, the requester. It's fabulous. We've had clients that use it for weddings. They put little QR code at the wedding venue entrance and say, you scan the QR code if you're a wedding guest, and there's a little video of the bride and groom saying, thanks so much for coming to our wedding. Could you just share a little story or leave some advice, or share your well wishes, whatever it is that you want. And by the end of the wedding, they got like 100 videos of people who showed up at the wedding and scanned the QR code and recorded it right then and there on their phone.
I love it. So hashtag wedding event coordinators right now.
Exactly. I mean, it's super fun, and engaging for people to do that. It's super easy because everybody's carrying their phone around these days. You just point the phone at the QR code, you hit a button, and then you record your message.
Wrapping your mind around the idea. Weddings are perfect. I'm thinking some kind of events, right? Trying to get people to, talk about an event. If you had a gala, right, and you wanted people to talk about why they were supporting this gala for this nonprofit. Oh my goodness, there's so many different uses for this. I love it, Christian.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we use the same technology. Just over the weekend, there was a conference of the National Speakers Association in Dallas, and they used our QR codes. And it was a small affair. I mean, they had, I think it was around 90, 95 attendees. And they asked questions like, what 3 pieces of advice would you give to an aspiring professional speaker? Because the attendees are certified speaking professionals or members of the Speakers Hall of Fame. So these are the creme de la creme, the really successful people. So they would just ask questions like this with the QR code. And, out of the 90, 95 people that attended, half of them recorded something.
Oh, nice.
And the really cool part about this is there were, I think, more than 20 responses where people specifically mentioned, you should join the National Speakers Association. What a great advertisement for the NSA. not the government NSA, the NSA, that's the National Speakers Association. And they didn't even ask for that. They just asked for people to share advice, and people shared their advice and their recommendations, or they shared stories about how they overcame the biggest obstacle that they faced in their career, how they overcame it. And these people were just started talking lovingly about NSA, and like, you should join. If my big piece of advice is join here and associate with people who are here to help you, your peers. And so, from their perspective, it was a resounding success. And any business can do this with their clients, or if you're associations, you have members. If you're nonprofits, for example, you want to get stories from the people that you're serving, or for the people who are volunteering for you or donating, and how that is impacting them. It's just fabulous. And the great thing about video is it's fast, because we talk 35, I think we did studies on this. It's around 30 to 35 times faster than we write, whether it's by hand or typing on a computer, because it just takes so long to write stuff down, and you are reading it over and over again. Did I say it right? And you're trying to decode stuff that you would normally say through intonation and inflection, or body language and movements, facial gestures, all these nonverbal things that we just naturally use. You start thinking about writing it, and you have to figure out, oh, how do I
and we overthink it, and we rewrite it, and we delete it, and we start over. And I find that if I talk and type, I can get my message across that fast, go through, edit, and send, right? I'll do talk and type just because of that, right?
Yeah,
rather than having to type it out and typos and everything.
Exactly. And thanks to the technology these days, and our technology does this too, we automatically transcribe and generate the captions for people, right? So as people are recording those video testimonials, or they're recording their experiences and sharing them with you, very, very simply, then it comes in, it's all transcribed, the captions are there. You can edit those captions, because sometimes the AI, they don't understand proper names, and they misspell a few things, and so on and so forth. And so you got to go in and fix that stuff. But and then one click publish it. It's like, oh, Christine said, she shared the most amazing advice. I have to share that with people, right? So just you click that share button, and off you go. You can publish it to your website. You can publish to social media. The idea behind all of this from the beginning, Christine, was to remove the friction that keeps us from sharing our stories.
Whether that's personal, business, nonprofit, my little brain is just going click, click, click as a marketing person. So I'm like, oh, right, I can't wait to talk to people about this, right? So I'm just thinking about all the veteran nonprofits. They're always wanting to share stories, right? We hear things like, I work a lot in the veteran space with the DFW Veterans Chamber, right? So we want stories on how successful our members are, right? What did you get out of being a member of the chamber? Well, I got to do these collaborations. Oh, I got to meet a lot of business owners. Oh, I got a lot of support in, right? We want to hear all that kind of stuff. And what a great way to do it. Or the Veterans Ranch, right? They want to hear their stories. How are their veterans doing? Are we dealing with PTSD? What's the struggles that they're dealing with? And how is equine therapy helping with that, right? So there are so many possibilities. Drake's Athletics, I could just see, we just did Christmas in Uvalde recently, right? The opportunity to go in and talk to the volunteers, why are you participating in this? Talk to the sponsors, what is it that moved you about this, right? Talking to some of the people there in the area. I mean, oh my goodness, my little brain's exploding, Christian.
Well, mine is that way too. Sometimes my brain just gets full, and then I try to put more stuff in it, and it just runs out of, like, water overflowing out of a bathtub. It makes a big mess. But I really feel like everything in my life has led to this particular point in time, this moment, because beneath all of this, I have a fundamental belief that every person is important, and their stories matter, and they deserve to be preserved and shared in a way that honors them. And it is my life's work to capture these stories, whether they're stories of family members and friends and loved ones, or whether they're stories of the clients, or they're the stories of the people that you are serving. These stories, they deserve to be preserved. People deserve to be remembered. They matter.
Absolutely, they do. And to provide another avenue for us to do that is so just authentic, real. It's almost touchable, right? It's different. It's nice to be able to read stories, right? Memoirs and books and biographies and autobiographies, but it's different when you get to hear it in their own words from them. Like you said, you get to see all the facial features, the inflections, that what makes them really who they are. What a wonderful gift, right?
Well, yeah, and the thing is well, you can say, well, you know what, I can put this on Facebook, or I'll just put my stuff there because my life is already cataloged there. But everything there is very granular and it's very fragmented. It's polluted, for lack of a better term, with ads, and sometimes the conversation can be difficult there. So I thought it was very important to provide a safe space for this content to reside, where you actually retain the ownership of it. You're not surrendering ownership of that content to YouTube or Facebook, but it's your content. You can download it at any time. It's yours forever. And again, it's a safe place where it's free from the pressures of likes and views and these kind of things, and you can just be your authentic self. I think you make a really good point there, that there's a lot of pressure on social media to not be your real self, and I think people just need a safe space where they can be their true selves.
Oh goodness, now you got me really thinking, because we've seen the old-fashioned photo albums, right? You flip through the pages and there's pictures. Right now we've gone into more of a digital photo album with a Snapchat or whatever, right? So what if we took it one step further? How can we compile all these videos into one story location? So you've seen people have wedding websites, right, that are all about their wedding. So if you had a wedding website and you were going to use this tool to publish those stories that people are sharing, one of your questions could be, tell a great story that you know about the couple, right? And if they could just do that and you hit that little button and pushed it and went to the website, you could have that whole event with all the attendees and all the stories, like an online photo album, basically dedicated to that particular event if you wanted.
Exactly. And from your own point of view, whether you're a family member or an individual, or whether you're a business, the way that the interface is structured is it looks kind of like Netflix for stories. And it's broken down. So it's basically organized as you have a big library of content, and that library is organized into collections, which you can create any kind of collection you want, and you can have as many collections as you want. And each of those collections have stories in them. These stories are individual recordings that people upload, right? So whether they're audio or video, because we'll do both, and they reside in these collections. And there are all kinds of fun things that you can do in these collections, not just uploading video, but you can also upload photos, you can upload files, you can tag people and places and events or timeline in a timeline. So you can have a really interactive, engaging consumption experience when you're going in and viewing a story. If you see a photo, you can see, oh, well, this photo was associated with this particular story. Or you can look on a map and say, oh, well, what stories were happening around the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or what, my uncle was in Hawaii, so what stories was he telling while he was in Hawaii? And you click on the map and it says, oh, here are all the stories that are aligned with the time that they were in Hawaii, and so on and so forth. So you have a lot of really interesting ways to consume these stories. You can just do it chronologically, or you can say, hey, I want to see what happened over here, or I want to see what happened with this particular person. Or I can, if the person's deceased, I can link that person's, record to their ancestry.com or records in Family Search or whatever, and learn more about.
So we have this space that we can manipulate some, and then we can invite people to that space to share with, I'm guessing, it sounds like.
That's exactly right. So, and you have control over how you want to share that content. So if you've got a collection, you've got a wedding collection, you can decide, well, who do I want to see this collection. I can keep it private, and I can invite specific individuals, and only those people with those particular email addresses can actually come in and view this collection. If I've got a collection and I want everybody in the world to see my wedding, then I can make that collection public, and I can generate a link which I can share with anybody on social media or through my text messages or whatever, and they can come in and they can view that collection. And so that's the nice thing, is you have a lot more control over the curation of this content, and you can say, oh, well, on the video testimonial side, you can say, oh, well, I generated a QR code and I sent it out, or I generated a link and I sent it out to everybody in my CRM. And I got like 60 videos back from people, but there are 10 of these that just rock. Like these are amazing. And those are the 10 that I want to highlight. Well, I can decide to change the status of those 10 to quote unquote published, and just leave the other 50 as draft. So when I share my collection, putting it on my website or share it through social media or whatever, people coming in and viewing it, they'll see the 10. They won't see all 60. They'll just see the 10 that I've selected. So
so you've got control over it. It's kind of
exactly.
like when you're using a social media outlet, they have control, right? Like you mentioned, they can decide, oh, YouTube goes, oh, I'm so sorry, you're using music that someone else is claiming. We're going to have to, whatever, to your website. Or, they're always constantly doing, or Facebook goes, oops, sorry, oops, take that out. You're not allowed to talk right now. Sorry. There's so many restrictions in social media because you have a higher power that's telling you what you can and can't do, right? And I would think within this platform, you have some freedom on who you want to share it with, who you don't want to share it with, and what you want to share, right?
Yeah. And there's some other really cool things that you can do as well in terms of collaboration. So let's say on the family side of things, this is a very good example. So one of our users earlier this year, her father turned, I think it was 75 or 80, I can't remember, from a large family. So they have a lot of children, a lot of grandchildren. And so what they wanted to do is have each of the children and grandchildren record a favorite story, a favorite moment about their father or grandfather. And then that was actually gifted to the grandfather as for his 75th birthday. So he had all of these stories from all of his progenitors, I guess, stories about his life that they shared with him, some of their favorite moments. But not only could they share those stories, those people who had pictures on their phones could also upload those pictures to their grandfather's collection, right? So now you've got, how it is sometimes, like, well, who has a picture of this and this? And so you're going around with your family, texting them or going on Facebook, like, who's got family pictures of this and this? And this makes it very easy because you can just say, I want to invite all of these different people as contributors and allow them to upload photos, allow them to upload files. I can even invite people to be editors, so from a business perspective, let's say I've got, people that are sharing stories or video testimonials or whatever. I might say, well, this one is amazing, but I just want to make sure that everything is spelled properly in here because he's using some terms and he's using some names, and I don't know if I've got them right. So I can invite that person as an editor. They can come in, they can look at the transcript and say, oh, actually the name is spelled like this, and they can make that change. And then that's that. And then you can publish it. So there's a lot more collaboration, interactivity. You get more people involved in capturing and sharing the stories than you could through other means. And so
absolutely,
it's a lot of fun.
I love it because you're right. I was saying talk about the wedding website. Well, now you can also have it inside, and then you can have, users submit, right? So it's the people that are out there at the wedding. You have the official photographer weddings, right? Photographer goes around, smile, right? But then you've got the candid stuff, the good stuff that you're missing because it's the so-and-so's little kid that's dancing in the corner by themselves doing spins and flips, right? That the photographer didn't necessarily catch, but you could have everybody at that event go and submit photos and video, and oh my goodness,
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly. You've
Where else
caught the
can we do
vision
that?
here.
Oh, I see the vision. I am loving the vision. I could see so many different potentials. Okay, brainstorm with me now. So you mentioned birthday parties, right? Those special, 75th birthday, 100th birthday, right? I mean, these special birthdays, these special occasions, your engagement parties, your weddings, your first birthday. I mean, there's so many. If you want to do something for, special album for the holidays, right? The December 2022. There it is, right? Save forever. There is just the possibilities are endless. If you are a goodness, I was just thinking one of my girlfriends, Stevie Dawn Carter, she's been doing plays, right? So an opportunity for people to go in and say, oh my God, I love the play. It was fantastic. You got to go see it, right? Little cameos from the actors saying why they love the part that they're doing, right? All this would be great for the splash page for a play that they're putting on, right? At the theater. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the possibilities are pretty, well, frankly, they're astonishing.
they
You know,
are. You mentioned like the business side, right? Like you said, you could gather your whole mailing list, right? And you'd have it segmented down, right? So you have your segment for those that are your clients, right? Sending an email out, hey, and you said you could ask them as a video, right? So as
yeah.
a business owner, I could make a video saying, hey, I absolutely love working with you. I want to hear more about why you love working with me. Why do you love me as much as I love you, right? And then send that out and see what they say, right? You can have your testimonials that you can use. It's more than just saying, hey, leave a Google review, right?
It
Google
is.
reviews, we go, those are nice, but how many of those are real? How many are paid for? But when we hear it straight from the horse's mouth,
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult to quote unquote fake video testimonials, but one of the things that we in talking with small business owners, solopreneurs, etc., trying to minimize the friction, we decided to incorporate a couple of additional things into our process to make it even more awesome for them. So number one, uh, if you subscribe to our professional plan, you can put your organization information in there, not just my name is my name Christian Napier, but I can have Raconto Inc. in there, so that communications or prompts that people see on a screen when they scan a QR code to submit a story, they see that they're coming from Raconto. They're not coming from Christian Napier. Another thing is you can replace Raconto's logo with your own logo. So when people scan your QR code or they click on your link, what pulls up on their phone screen or on their computer screen, if they're on their desktop, has your logo on it. And then the third thing that we did was in this workflow, they scan the QR code, they see your instructions, they watch your little video, then they record their video. When they go to submit it to you, they put in their name and their email address. Now, this does a couple of things. Number one, they are giving you, the requester, authorization to use the recording. So you don't have to go back and say, hey, that testimonial is amazing. Can I put it on my website? You don't have to do it because they've already given you authorization in the process. Number two, if so we see this in examples like for speakers, for example, professional speakers who are speaking in front of an audience. So they got 500 people in the audience. Scan the QR code and just give me 30 seconds. Tell me what's the most impactful thing that you learned here today. They may not have the email addresses and names of those audience members, but when they do this, now they have them. So it's for those kind of businesses that fit that niche, it's an interesting and potentially really powerful way for lead gen. And then the final thing is after the person submits, so they've recorded their video, they've put in their little name and email address, and they hit the submit button. You can include your own custom call to action. So what do you want them to do? Do you want them to schedule time with you for a free consultation? Do you want them to sign up for your course or subscribe to your newsletter? Or if you're a nonprofit, do you want them to make a donation? If do you want them to buy your book? Do you want them to leave a Google review? Put the link to where they would leave a Google review for your business. it's completely up to you. So it's totally flexible. And you can have different calls to action for different requests. So depending on how you are segmenting your emails, you might say, well, I'm going to use this call to action for this group of people, and I'm going to use this other call to action for this other group of people for those requests. And so again, it's really trying to streamline the workflow, remove that friction, but also take full advantage of this interaction. Like, you're going to get this testimonial, you're going to get their name and their email address, you're going to get their consent to use the recording, and you're going to have an opportunity to present them with your own call to action. So
wow. From a marketing perspective, what more could you ask for? Right. I'm like I said, my little brain's going click, click, click. I'm thinking about the gala we're getting together. Right. And if you had that where they could put a testimonial, and then at the option at the end, would you like to donate? Right. Perfect opportunity right out there. So I'm assuming, is there a spot for them to I guess it'll take them to the donation page and they can do it there, right? And process
yeah.
it that
So
way?
that's what it does. The call to action is simply, it's just some text, a button. You can define the label, you can define the text, and then where does that button direct them to? So
You got to decide.
any URL, you can just send them to there, right? So it'll send them to
Right.
your donation page, and then you just use your existing infrastructure to manage the donations, or
Right. So whatever it was that you wanted to do, maybe if they wanted to sign up for your next class, if they wanted to pre-order a copy of your book, whatever it is that you wanted to send them to, you could direct them to. Ooh.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, what a marketing genius. I love this. How you put this all together. There's so many possibilities on this. My mind's just going click, click, click. Wow. This is just amazing. So you said this is kind of the culmination of where you've come today, right? So tell us a little bit of your backstory. How did you get to this point where you came up with this great idea? How did you get here?
Well, as I mentioned at the outset, I started working in the Olympic Games around 2000, but I've been in the knowledge and learning space almost 30 years in technology. And when I'll go back to the comment that I made, which is really my core belief, that every person's important and their stories matter. They deserve to be preserved and shared. That is not marketing speak. That really is coming from in here. And I'll tell you where that originated from, or when the light bulb really came on for me. It was back in 2006. I was working the Asian Games in Doha, Qatar. We were talking about that before we started our conversation today. Working on those Asian Games as a consultant. And when I went over there in early 2006, I met a woman who had recently fled Iraq with her family. And so she was living there in Doha, working for the local organizing committee who was planning to stage this event, the Asian Games. And she invited me and some of our colleagues over to her home for dinner. So we went over there, in a lovely home, and she prepared this amazing meal. And while we're eating this fantastic food, she starts telling her story. She starts talking about growing up in Baghdad, the little home that they lived in. They had a little garden. She talked about how much she loved pomegranates. It was her favorite food. She loved the pomegranates. And as she's telling this to me, I'm thinking to myself, this is a real human being. We come from totally different sides of the planet, different religions, different cultures, countries that are in conflict with each other, different genders. But I really felt at that moment that all of that stuff just went away, and that we had a lot more in common than we had differences. I mean, she's telling me her story, and I'm like, you know what? She wants the same stuff I do. She just wants safety and security and opportunity for herself and her family. That's what she wants. I want the same thing. And when you start telling these stories, when you start sharing stories, you start sharing experiences, you realize that And in today's environment, which is super polarized and everything, this cannot do anything but help. When you start hearing the stories of people who are on opposite ends of your political spectrum or religious spectrum or cultural spectrum or whatever spectrum it might be, then your empathy increases, your appreciation for others grows, and your animosity begins to diminish. And to me, this is really this is how we unlock this power of storytelling, is we make this available to the masses, and we start encouraging people to actually share their stories, not a facade on social media, not hiding behind avatars and anonymous monikers online, but actually just telling your story, whether it's you as a family member, a friend, a client, a partner, a business owner, whatever it is. Start sharing your story. What it's going to do is it's going to increase and build community connection and understanding. And that's really the backstory behind it. I mean, since then, since I started working with the International Olympic Committee's advisor, I have interviewed more than 1,500 people. I've captured their stories on video. These people are awesome from all different points of the globe. They are amazing people. The stories are wonderful. I hold all of them in high esteem from all different walks,
Christian,
of life.
I love this story because really it is about building community, right? And sharing those stories helps build, like you said, that community. What do we have in common? We may have things that we don't have in common, but there's a lot of things we do have in common, whether it's love of family, love of our community, whatever it is, right? We have more in common than we don't. And I think, like you said, sharing those stories really helps build that, and building those authentic relationships. Like you said, it's not just marketing. It's not, marketing has a purpose, right? And it's to draw those people in to make money usually, or to bring in money or bring in donations, right? There's a purpose behind it, rather than, I like seeing this movement that we're seeing more in the marketing side of building community. That's something that we're hearing more and more about, and I really love being involved. My soft spot is mission driven organizations, so you're right up my alley. This is the place I like to play also. So there's so many possibilities. So I bet if anybody sat down and started thinking about, okay, is there a community I'm trying to build, whether that's a church community, a nonprofit community, or following maybe they're a coach. I love coaches because they're trying to do good in the world, and speakers, authors, right? They're trying to do good in the world. That's my favorite place to play in. So I could see so many possibilities for those, for your usual everyday business owners, right? Your solopreneurs that are really attached to their brand. When you get to a large company, sometimes the owner gets detached from the brand, but when you're a solopreneur, that's not the case. It goes hand in hand, right? I'm not just Christine Dean. I am the DFW Networking Diva, right? They're one and the same. So I think a lot of the solopreneurs, that's how we are attached to it, right? So tying that in and letting people know who you are through stories, what a great way to build those relationships.
Well, and beyond letting people know who you are, it's like having those around you, whether they are family members or clients or whoever, telling everybody else who you are, right? Because you can sing your own praises all the day long, but when you've got clients, you've got family members who are sharing these kind of stories, and they're telling it from their own perspective, and your prospective clients can hear it from your existing clients. Hey, this guy really, this person really knows his or her stuff. I mean, that's really, really powerful. It's really, really powerful.
Absolutely. I love how you're just building that community through storytelling. What an amazing project you've put together. I can't imagine how long it took for you to get all those different pieces together to create this beautiful platform that you've got set out for us. What's next for your organization? This is where you're at now. I know you've got to have dreams. Where are you going?
Well, yeah, we've got big dreams. the moonshot dream for me is, every single person on the planet should record their story. There are a lot of people that say, I'm a nobody. I'm just average. There's nothing particularly special about me. It's really frustrating when you hear that from people that It's like, are you kidding? Like, why would I even want to hang around with you if you were just a boring person, average person, if you
Right.
had
We
nothing
probably have to
interesting
ask
about
our
you?
friends why they're special, because they may not realize it themselves.
Right. And sometimes that's what you need, right?
Uh-huh.
Is somebody else to kind of do that. But uh, that would be the end game for me, is that everybody on the planet has a story to share, and they should share that story in a more holistic way than is currently done on like through social media or whatever. And people can write books, and I'm not trying to tell anybody don't write a book or anything like that. But if you are short on time, if you're very busy, and you say to yourself, well, this weekend, or in 2 months, whatever, I'm going to set aside a week. I'm going to block it out, and I am going to get to work on this. I'm going to write down my story. I'm going to tell my story. Well, good luck. I mean, I haven't had one of those mythical weekends in I don't know how many years. They just don't exist. Everything is busy. So if you are interested in recording your own story and you feel pressed for time, then just as you mentioned, Christine, speak it. Don't write it, because speaking it is so much faster, whether you're using our platform or some other platform, it doesn't matter. And that can be easily transcribed into your own story. And then, same thing for getting other people's stories. If you're a speaker, you work with them or a coach or something. It's like, when am I going to ask for these? I deliver a keynote, I deliver my presentation, deliver my workshop. What do? After it's over, I either hire a camera crew to film me, and then I'll try to chase down a few people after it and say, hey, why don't you share your story? Or I'm running around with my phone trying to get people's attention and say, hey, can you stand over here for 30 seconds and tell me, share a testimonial? Or you can just make this QR code and throw it up there, or send it in your CRM to 3,000 people and then get it back. To try to do that yourself one by one individually is just too long. It just takes too long.
Right.
You don't
Add
have
it to the cover of your inside cover or the back cover of your book. Did you like this book? Tell me about it. QR code.
Exactly. You put it on there. Yeah. So
there's so
you
many
put it on your one sheet. You put it on whatever. You just throw it wherever it is.
Your media one sheet for when you do podcasting, right? Have it on the screen back behind you when you're doing a podcast, right? There's just a million ideas, and I love them all. The sky is the limit when it comes to this, Christian. What a wonderful product. And I love the heart that you come with it, with, wanting people to get closer to and share their stories and help build their community. That to me is a great, noble goal. And I hope more people participate in it. And I think the more we get the word out about what you're up to and what you're doing, I think you're going to see getting busier and busier till you're just too busy.
Well, and that's, the beautiful thing about that is when you're to that point, then you can get more people involved in this labor of love, right? Because you're at a point where you can start to scale it. And certainly that's our ambition, because if we want to achieve our ultimate objective, then we've got to scale that up. But that will come. It will come.
Absolutely. So it's getting the word out and maybe introducing you to some partners that might be able to help you with that, and some organizations. So I'm guessing we need to introduce you to nonprofits, people in marketing departments. We need to introduce you to some marketing directors. We need to kind of get the word out there. Wedding planners. Who else do you need to meet?
Oh, well, that's a great list to start, right? We're doing well with the speakers now. We signed up as a partner with the National Speakers Association, and so we'll be at their upcoming conferences in 2023. So super excited about that, and working with the speakers. And I think associations So nonprofits generally, but associations where, people join and become members. This is a fantastic way to engage members when you give them opportunities to actually share their knowledge and experience with each other this way. And it's super easy to record. It's super easy to consume. Then they start to realize, oh, there's actual real value here in being a member of this association. And so groups that are looking to retain existing members or bring new members in, this is a fantastic way to engage people to help achieve that goal.
Absolutely. So if they want to check it out, for those that are listening and not watching the recording, how should they reach out to you?
So you can go to our website. It's rakonto.io. So rakonto.io. Or you can email me, christian@rakonto.io. I'm happy to connect with anybody and answer any questions that they might have. We're here to help.
I love what you're doing, Christian. Keep on doing it. Go out there, keep doing good in the world, and get people sharing their stories. And I see lots of success in your future. And I will send people your way because I think you are someone that we need to know. Thank you so much for being on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Christine, for the opportunity. It was a pleasure.
All right. We'll have you back sometime. Thank you, Christian. So this is Christine Dean, your DFW Networking Diva, connecting you to who you want to know and living in the entrepreneurial space. We love everything entrepreneurial. So if you want to be on the show, reach on out. Reach me at diva@dfwnetworkingdiva.com. It's all good. I'll see y'all soon. Thanks.